All right, hello, my name is silverkyle, and today we are going to be taking a look at the Spider-Man Clone Saga Volume 1 Omnibus reprint that we got here in January 2024. And I remember this being one of the first out-of-print omnibus at the time. Like right when I first started collecting, this was starting to go out of print. And I remember like being tempted to kind of buy it for the inflated prices. I've never bought anything for an inflated price, I'm glad to say. And it seems to be paying dividends now because of all the omnibus that were getting reprinted. But yeah, I was really tempted for this because to me, I have a lot of these actual issues. This is when I was collecting big time in Spider-Man, and I really enjoyed at least the beginning. And I think that most people did enjoy the beginning of the Clone Saga. It's just Volume 2 specifically where things kind of get out of hand. But in terms of the artwork, this is my Spider-Man era. This and just before it. So the Mark Bagley omnibus that we're going to be getting. Oh, it's going to be so good. All right, so this is $125 in the US, $156.25 in Canada. I think I paid $115-ish from Indigo here in Canada. Collects Web of Spider-Man, $117, $125. Amazing Spider-Man, $394 to $401. That's crazy that we only get a few issues of Amazing here. Spider-Man 51 to 58. Spectacular. Spider-Man 217 to 224, Spider-Man Unlimited 7 to 9, and Spider-Man Funeral for an Octopus 1 to 3, Spider-Man the Clone Journal, and material from Spider-Man Collector's Preview. Take a look at the flaps. So this to me was a really big event that happened that probably went on a little bit too long. I feel like there's a lot of 90s Marvel events that probably went just a little bit too crazy. This being one of them. And they kind of extended it because I think the sales were going so well and they were able to kind of branch out into a lot of just, instead of just Amazing Spider-Man, they were able to branch out on a lot of stuff. One that I would have liked to have seen in here, and I don't know, I've never really looked at what's collected in Volume 2. I was kind of hoping that we would get a bit of Peter Parker Spider-Man, just because John Romita Jr. was doing a lot of that. Quite a nice hardcover portion. I like that cover art. Kind of, in terms of the standard edition, rather plain, although I do love the Spider-Man face there. That is absolutely gorgeous. But you've got so many nice covers in the back that they could have used. That was always one favorite of mine. Probably because I owned it as well. But I owned a lot of these. Like, there's so many nice... That could have been a great one. That one's nice. That as a wraparound. Oh... Venom was looking great during this time too. Anyway, let's dive into the material. I didn't go crazy in terms of having to stretch this out. It is unfortunately in iMac in Turkey, so bear that in mind as you're going through this, and then we dive right into it. In terms of as we go through the pages, there is, depending on how much color we have, you can see through it. So there is some bleed through. And the pages themselves, sometimes they're glossy, sometimes they've got that kind of dusty feel to them. So just bear that in mind. But in terms of it opening up, I didn't stretch it out too hard. And to me, the artwork throughout almost this entire omnibus is beautiful because a lot of it is nostalgia. Like, this is what I grew up with. So that definitely has a bit of a bias there, but this is quite nice. Yeah, I like a lot of this. And because that it was kind of going through so many different series, I never got to finish this. Like, I couldn't, as a kid at the time, I was only allowed probably I don't know if it was maybe, I don't feel like I got a comic a week. One or twice a month is how often I get some. So My brother would get some too at the same time, but he didn't always get exactly what I was getting because we wanted a variety. So it's going to be nice to kind of see all of this unfold, and I'll get the whole story now. Oh yeah, like some of this stuff is great. Some not so much, but for the most part, I do quite enjoy a lot of, okay, a lot of bleed through there because it's white. Loved that Daredevil suit. Was a big fan of it. Okay, here we have, now it could just be because of the issue, but this seems like a really crappy print of this. It's a lot blurrier than most pages, and it could just be because that's the cover that we're dealing with, and maybe it might not be. It seems blurry, like it seems like a bootleg. I know it's not a bootleg, but that's kind of a little bit of the vibe that I get every once in a while, and I got that with one of the last omnibus. I think it was Scarlet Spider. Was a volume 1, I think, that I had just done as well. That's a nice image. I've always liked a really big white eyes of Spider-Man when they drew him like this. Kind of like the Andrew Garfield Amazing Spider-Man 2 suit with the massive eyes. All right, let's get to closer to the end here. I had this. I remember that one. I think I had pretty much the entire Amazing Spider-Man run. The other thing, too, is that I was getting this at a convenience store that just by chance had some comics. So they didn't have necessarily everything, but anything really big they did have. Yeah, I remember all of this. I think my brother did have quite a few of these because he liked Kane. And I remember that he had some of these. Okay, let's get into the extras. This is interesting. That's cool. Quite a variety of extras instead of just these extra images from the pinup gallery. Those holographic things, man. Brings me back. So there you have it. Oh, and I'll just quickly show you the eye. The eye isn't great. I think I said that last time for Scarlet Spider, and it was fantastic. It's there. Mine's kind of warped. So, but there you have it. That is the Clone Saga Volume 1 Omnibus. Thank you all for watching. You have been bearded in. Beardage!